Okay. Hi there, br0kenmech. Um, yeah, I saw your video a couple of days ago, and just thought I'd respond now because I've been busy. I posted some comments, but I didn't really get a proper response, I think. And I saw that Gary has made a almost an hour-long video about you and Barclord, but I haven't watched it yet, so I don't really know what he's gonna talk about there. I imagine it has something to do with the vasectomy thing. But yeah, I think I have 3 points to make here. I'm not gonna play the entire video because I already did a video and tried that, but it's gonna take too long, so I'll just I'll see if I can find. Damn, I should have done the timecode thing. I searched them in advance, but well, basically there's the. I try not to misrepresent you here. So basically, he agrees with all the premises. He agrees that life is suffering. He agrees, or that's what he says, that life is suffering, and that creating kids is an imposition of risk, and that we have, there's just. He says that he's a hard determinist. That we have all just. This is all just a result of a long string of cause and effect, and crude natural forces. Which is, it's fairly obvious, but it's good that he. Yeah, it's good that we're agreeing on the premises because a lot of people don't agree with the premises, even though they are they are like pretty damn obvious. But
thing we experience called consciousness, you know.
Okay, what was that?
To any of this existence, we are just a bunch of the product of an endless series of cause and effect.
Okay, that's where he said it. But yeah, what he is talking about, however, is that, or well, first of my points to you, I think that you don't get the deprivation thing. I mean, you're talking about the gift of life, and life is a blessing and a curse. But I seriously think that you don't get the whole deprivation argument, even though you agree that the default state is the state of need. You know, but damn, the memory card is getting full. I have to delete something. Hold on. Okay, we're back, and now we're gonna use some amazing flashy colors and stuff. Yeah, we're using paint. So basically, yeah, I don't think you really understand the deprivation thing. So let me just spell it out for you. There is a line, and that line says neutral. Okay, that is the neutral point. And up here we have. Goddamn, I can't use this program. No. Bigger lines. Oh my god. Making a mess. Basically, here we have the positive. And here we have the negative. And let's say, I mean, I think this is the same thing that I talked about with Pyro in some comments, that as stated earlier, first default state is the state of need. Let's say you want what would you want? Let's say you want a cup of coffee and you're dying for it. This is an example, but let's say you really want a cup of coffee, and which takes you, let's say, here. And then when you finally get it, in reality, one might never, be able to satisfy all the desires. But coffee is a fairly simple thing. So yeah, let's say you drink the cup of coffee, and let's say for the sake of argument that it actually is as good as you imagined. which takes you, here. So now you're here in the neutral state, basically. And even though you imagine, you experience this thing called pleasure, it didn't really do anything. I mean, I think the illusion is this, that the line would be like there, and then like the neutral state would be the state of need, and then when you did something pleasurable, it would take you here to the positive, but that, it doesn't work like that. So the point of all this silly drawing thing, is to demonstrate that, you really can't do anything else than just satisfy your desires. You can't really get any of this magical thing called real pleasure. All pleasure is only pleasurable if there's the need first. It's only the thing called pleasure wouldn't exist if the need didn't exist first, and it's only the removal of the need, the removal of the negative, and it's pretty easy to get. I think that the spilled milk example works very well. You spill some milk and then you clean it up, and you think you've accomplished something. No, you haven't. You just gotten rid of the mess that you made. So if you're never born, you're already here. If you've never been born, then you are already here. The moment you're born, you're like somewhere in here, and you're in deprivated state, and then you fulfill your needs, and then it takes you closer to this. But you'll never get above this line. You'll never get to anywhere else than just, I think you understand this. You should be able to get it. I mean, it took a while for me to, get it so that it really materialized, but really clicked. But basically, there is no such thing as pleasure outside of deprivation. You have to suffer first, and then remove the suffering, and then you go, it felt good. So, and it would be silly to even think that life would be fair. I mean, it's, as you said, it hasn't been designed in any way, so it's basically made by a totally incompetent retard called, unintelligent, crude forces of nature. So how could it be fair? It's obviously going to be flawed in some way, and it is flawed in pretty dramatic way, that all we can do is pretty much just fulfill our needs and get rid of the discomfort, and try to think of something that that you would like to do, that, or try to think about something fun to do, and then that didn't involve being deprivated first. You don't want to eat unless you're hungry or you have a desire for the particular food. You don't want to drink without having a desire of some kind of sensation first. You're not gonna want to sleep unless you're tired or there's something else that you want to accomplish by sleeping. There's always the need first. Okay, I think I've talked about this for long enough. But it is quite an important point. Yeah, the truth is there isn't anything. There is no such thing as pleasure without the deprivation. So you always have to suffer first, and then try to remove the suffering. So life is not a gift. Life is not a blessing. It is a curse. These things are not opposites. This basically doesn't even exist. Pleasure is not the opposite of suffering in it. That would, pleasure is not as powerful as suffering. Pleasure cannot compete with suffering. Suffering can take you, far down here, but pleasure can't take you anywhere else to just remove the suffering. Pleasure doesn't do anything in itself, only in context with suffering. Okay, I guess that's it. What else? So yeah, we've done, you know, that was basically the gift thing. So yeah, there's no blessing. You're just imposing on someone, and then they're spending a life of trying to get rid of the curse. So it's not a blessing and a curse. It's a curse. And even if it was a blessing and a curse, then you'd still have to concede that there's more of the pleasure, more of the suffering than there is the pleasure. Even if they were opposites, the bad would still outweigh the good. So it's kind of a. But what you're saying is that there's actually a potential for having a life that's worth living, but it's not possible. And even if it was, many people aren't living those kind of lives, but it isn't possible. So it's even worse.
In a very chaotic, all kinds of philosophical complications. I don't think that is a valid conclusion.
Well, yeah. Go see the video for yourself. I don't have time to play it because I don't want it to be a terribly long video.
Yes. And you take away life.
Well, yeah, he's saying that you take away life and there's no other value left. But that's kind of the point here. I mean, after billions of years of losing really badly, being anal raped by the other team, we say that draw is actually a pretty damn good alternative. It's the best we can do. We can never win. It's impossible. It's theoretically impossible.
And you have there is nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah, I don't see that as a problem. That's just, you think it's a problem because you have some kind of. I want there to be life because I mean, I really don't see it as a problem that there wouldn't be any value, because the inherent value of life is negative. So of course, trading negative to a draw, or like a loss to a draw, is always I think it's a good deal.
There's no negative, no positive, nothing.
That's not a problem.
This all-consuming truth that that follows from the because of the fact that you, by your existence, continue to impose risks on other people.
Well, yeah, he says that by existing we are also imposing risk. So it's creating. Okay, this is how it falls apart. First of all, even if my existence was harmful, then, well, first I didn't ask to be here. It's not my fault. So it would be pretty unreasonable to tell me that I have to kill myself because I am imposing risk. No, it would be much more reasonable to say that stop having kids because they are creating risks and imposing risks on other people. I mean, I think that's a point against you, more or less. But also, I don't even think it's true that my existence is that harmful. I mean, he talks about driving a car, and I accept that there is a risk in driving a car, but this thing, there is also a function. Cars make people's lives a lot easier, but there's also a risk, and the risk is fairly small, and the benefits are pretty clear. But on the childbirthing thing, the benefits are non-existent. It's just this small ego boost for the parents, and even their life is going to suffer from it. I mean, raising a child is a pain in the ass, but they have unreasonable expectations when they're having a kid. But the benefits are fairly the benefits are very, very tiny, especially compared to the risk, because the risk is a whole new caliber of risk. Having a child is the biggest risk you can ever take in your life. Think about that. It's the risk. It's the ultimate risk. You can never control the experiment. It's gonna last for